Being a business owner is hard, and you have to wear a lot of different hats. And the less you have to rely on yourself, the better. So opening yourself up for friendships or mentorships or relationships that allow you to lighten the load is really important. Finding people that you can trust to help you.
All you need to get started is to have an idea and have the drive and the commitment to make that thing happen. Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Jacob Lee and this is the Founder Scoop. Today I have with me my friend Kohl. Thank you, Kohl, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So Kohl, he started this really cool business. Really quick, do you want to just give us a brief overview of what it is, and then I'll jump in and I want to hear your story?
So I'm the founder of Yarrow. We're creating a safety device that prevents domestic violence and sexual assault.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
It's been super cool to hear like the progress of your business. You've helped me a lot as I've been getting this podcast started. So I'm really excited to get your story out there as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I've loved being part of this and getting to work with you. So it's awesome.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you come from and how did you get started as an entrepreneur?
So I'm originally from Arizona, and I moved quite a few times before I graduated high school. And so I saw lots of different people, lots of different professions. And, being an entrepreneur never dawned on me until, middle of high school. I asked one of my engineering teachers, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer for a long time. I said, do you think you could see me doing that? And he looked at me and he said, probably not.
Oh, man.
Just being honest.
That's not the answer you want to hear.
No, and I appreciated the realism. But probably within the next week, a teacher came in from another school. It's called a CAPS network school. They focus on a lot of different things. One of the ones they focused on was entrepreneurship. And as she talked about the program, my eyes kind of lit up and I was like, whoa, I've never thought about that, but that sounds awesome. Just felt really inspired to go to this school. And that's where it started, I think. I always had like weird side hustles growing up as a kid. But I think that's where I seriously started taking interest.
That's really cool. I've really noticed a lot lately, especially with the people I've been interviewing, is that a huge determining factor in them becoming an entrepreneur is the belief of those around them in them and that they could do something great.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that you also had that experience.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. That's cool.
So let's go to the very beginning. Okay. When did you get started with Yarrow? Tell me about that experience.
Yarrow started at that school. At least the business idea started at that school. We were given an assignment to go out into the community and to solve a problem. That was like the whole process. And then to see if it could be scaled as a business. I've always been passionate about helping people out of domestic violence situations. I grew up in a really unsafe home. It's just something that's always inspired me. And so I went and gathered a couple students and we started talking to domestic violence shelters in the area, women's shelters. And the feedback that we got was that they needed help with safety planning. And so we brainstormed a couple ideas and we started working on it.
So when you had this idea, did you really think it could be a business idea, or was it more just personal? Like you had these experiences growing up and you knew it was a problem. Which of those did you feel like it influenced you more?
I think the biggest influence was my own personal experience. I wasn't looking to build a business. I wasn't looking to scale or anything like that. I just wanted the goal has always been to save one person's life, to help one person. And if I can do that, it'll be worth it. And so that's still the way I feel. And I don't know. Yeah, my own personal experiences. I saw terrible things happen in my home, and I wanted to help someone not experience that if possible.
Man, well, how did that first contact go when you approached these shelters?
It was really awkward.
Really?
It was super
Tell me
awkward.
about
Yeah, I'm like, what am I, 15, 16? Probably 16. And I tell them that I want to help, but I don't know how to help, and I don't know what to do, but I want to do something. And one of the things that they told me that really resonated with me was that women have a hard time communicating with their loved ones because their abusers will take their phone, they'll hide it, they'll break it, they'll confiscate it, read text messages. It's pretty terrible. And, that's their link to the outside world. And they're like, we wish we had a way to, help them get in touch with their loved ones without using their phone. And I was like, oh, okay, now I have an idea. Before it was just a desire. And so we started brainstorming, and we came up with a disguised panic button that can be used without your phone.
That is super cool. What I really like about that is just how important honesty played a role in this. Like you're young and you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
but I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
I've noticed as I've like got started with this podcast that the more honest I am with people and be like, hey, I started this about 8 months ago. I had no idea what I was doing. As soon as I open up and tell people that, so many people flocked to me to help me and encourage me and to teach me. And it was so cool to have that experience. And it looks like you probably also had that same experience too.
I think that's the entrepreneur's journey, is authenticity, and then people recognizing that and wanting to help. It doesn't matter what your project is, people want to help.
And I think it helps too when you have such a important mission like yours. So that's really cool. In the beginning, you mentioned that you had some experiences in your past that kind of made you want to explore this problem and create a solution. Would you mind telling me more about that?
Yeah, of course. So I grew up in a pretty unsafe home. My dad was an alcoholic, and he was abusive at times. And seeing that as a little kid, I felt helpless a lot of times. I had no way to help my mom. And Yarrow was really inspired by her need to get help. I remember it's a very clear memory. My dad took my mom's phone and he threw it at a wall, and it broke, and she had no way to get help as terrible things happened. And ever since then, in the back of my mind, there's been this longing to solve a problem for my mom and for other, women in these terrible situations, and men too. It happens to them. Not a lot of people know about that, but there's always been this drive to help people leave bad situations.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's very, very deeply personal, and I appreciate you opening up.
Thank you.
And I'm really inspired by your goal here, right? You've seen the problem firsthand.
Yeah.
And now your mission is to make sure that doesn't happen to everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you for being the kind of person who's seeking to solve that problem.
Thanks. I appreciate you saying that.
So you got this feedback from the school or from the shelters that there was a problem. This is something that could be changed. What did you do with that information?
So we had a team of students at the time who were all awesome and pretty dedicated to the project. We'd spend hours each day at school working on it, and we just collaborated. We made, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 different ideas, like prototype, like just drawings really, and took it back to them, said, which of these look helpful? That sucks, that's a bad idea. This one has potential, look into it more. We made different iterations of that. And we did this process quite a few times throughout the few semesters I was at that school. And by the end, we had decided what we wanted it to look like, what we wanted it to function, or how we wanted it to function. We had started making like a rough idea of the business model, and it was going really well.
Okay, so you've done a lot of research, right? You figured out a design that shelters liked. Can you tell me more about how the Yarrow Safe Connect actually works and what it does?
Yeah. So we'll use the name Megan. Megan goes to a shelter and she feels unsafe. She'll sit down with a social worker who helps her figure out what plan she needs to set in place to stay safe once she leaves. Part of that plan might include a Yarrow Safe Connect, which is a disguised panic button. It's disguised as a chapstick. She'll put in her contacts that she trusts, maybe her parents or her neighbors, and a few text messages, one for low urgency when she's feeling uncomfortable or unsafe, but not immediately in danger. That might say something like, he's drinking again, or I feel unsafe. If she double presses the button on the bottom of that chapstick, it'll send out that message to her loved ones with a Google Maps location. She'll also input a high urgency message, something like, he's hit me or he's getting violent. That'll alert the police as well with that same Google Maps location, and allows them to come and intervene before things get too out of hand.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
So you said it's a chapstick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's our first design.
Do you have any other models in mind that you'd like to make?
Yeah. I mean, we've been looking into things like makeup compact mirrors, lighters, which isn't super popular here in Utah, but I've had a lot of requests for lighters. We're always looking for new designs as well. But those are the first 3 that we're focusing on.
Do you have any other like products that Yarrow would make in the future?
I think we'll stay pretty close to the panic button design, but maybe exploring a little more into education and prevention.
What would that look like?
I think going to events and speaking to people would be really important. There's a lot of people who do that already, but they're for different, services. There's not a whole lot of people catering panic buttons to this audience.
I feel like education is a huge part of your marketing, right? You're here solving a problem, but I don't know if everyone knows that this is a problem. And the people that have this problem, they're struggling because they need help, and people don't know that this is a problem.
Yeah, no, it's a really big issue.
So what else is Yarrow going to be doing to help solve this problem?
Continuing to partner with women's shelters throughout the states. They know where the most vulnerable populations are. They're able to reach them. We partner with them, and they have a budget every year from government grant money. They can purchase our product and distribute them.
So is your strategy going to be just to work with these shelters? Do you plan to have it like in stores?
Yeah. So for now, the early stages, that's the most readily available market. They see the problem. In the future, I'd actually like to work with the government, and we're kind of in the works with that, getting grant money every year from them to distribute our products. And of course, business to consumer market, just selling online, just like a Shopify shop.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can go with it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So where did it go from there? Like, obviously this started as a school assignment.
Yeah.
And now you have a business.
Yeah.
Like, what happened in between?
So let's see. Senior year of high school, things were picking up. We had competed in a few like pitch funding competition. We took first in a national competition for that. And
congrats.
Thanks.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. We were getting a lot of momentum, and we filed for a patent even. And then I decided it was really important for me to go and serve a mission for my church, which was really like a difficult decision for me, because here I'm making progress. Here I'm potentially helping save lives. And I gave it up for 2 years, and that was really scary. And in that time, I came home from my mission, and I found that competitors were making better technology. Our patent didn't get filed. It got rejected, probably because it was written by high schoolers. And I was feeling really discouraged. I felt like this project I poured all my time and energy into was kind of dead. And it took a kick in the pants from my wife, actually. She's like, why are you moping? Like, you can still do so much good. There are people who make panic buttons, but they're not helping people out of domestic violence relationships. And so there's a lot of good that can still be done. And to me, that was kind of a wake-up call and made me realize, like, I don't need 100% market share. I need to just help people. And it re-sparked that fire in me. I was working as a carpenter at the time. This was earlier this year, actually, and just wasn't right for me. Loved the profession, loved the trade, but just wasn't right for me. And so I kind of full sent it. We had no money in our bank account. I quit my job and I went to BYU, and I went on campus and talked to every student and professor I could find who might have something to do with business or technology. And
wait, so were you a student as well?
No, I'm not even a student. I'm just walking around on campus.
That's crazy.
And basically the answers I got were like, go to iHub. And I was like, what the flip is iHub? So I go and check it out, and oh man, it was crazy. I went to iHub and pitched my idea. I told people about my idea, and they're like, oh, this is great. Like, would you like to officially pitch to become part of iHub? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? And I was way too confident in my ability, to pitch something I haven't talked about in like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, wait, so give me a timeline here. You went on a mission.
Yeah, sorry.
And then how much time passed before you finally went to BYU and started to get things
So I went on
again?
a mission, and I came home, and I spent a year. I met my wife and started dating her. I got married. This was all about a year or so.
Okay. That's a big year, too.
Yeah, it's a big year. Yeah, a lot going on. But yeah, after a year, I started working on it again. And I haven't talked about Yarrow in forever. And I tried to pitch it, and I thought it was going to go great. I was like, this is going to be awesome. They're going to be inspired. And it was the most catastrophic, epic failure of my life.
Wait, what do you mean? What happened?
I was all over the place. I didn't plan anything. I didn't prepare a pitch. It was very scrambled, last minute put together. And the people at iHub were like, I can see the vision. I don't think you're quite there yet. Keep working on it. Keep coming to iHub is what they told me. Keep coming to iHub and you will get it. Meet with the mentors. And so I did, and I haven't left iHub ever since then. I've been here every day since.
So I'm imagining you've mastered your pitch now.
Yeah, a little better. Yeah, a little better than that day. So
that's really cool. So how has iHub helped you since then?
iHub's helped me in so many ways. iHub is a great resource center for mentorship. For me is what's been the biggest help. I am 22 years old. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm willing to admit that. And I think just like what we talked about earlier is when you're honest with people around you, they want to help. So I tell mentors that I don't know what I'm doing and I need your help because they're much more experienced than me. And I'm getting mentorship from world-class entrepreneurs who have been there, have done that, and they can give me advice and tell me, what pitfalls to avoid and what steps to take to succeed.
I think it comes back to that idea of honesty and authenticity, right? Even here as a part of this community, like continuing to do that will continue to facilitate the growth in your future.
Yeah.
Let's go back a little bit to your business, right?
Sure.
You moved here to Utah. You had no money and you started a business. How the heck did you get it going? Like, did you get investors? How did you fund this project?
For a long time, I was working 4 jobs. I was donating plasma.
Wait, 4 jobs?
Yeah,
Holy cow.
4 jobs, donating plasma. I was just giving everything I could to this. And, I moved here from across the country kind of on a whim with like $700 in my account. By the time I got here, I had like $300 and bills to pay in 2 weeks. It was pretty scary. And somehow, I don't know, by the grace of God, we made it work. And we're still here. I pitched Corbin Church here at iHub, and he invested in our company, and I've been able to work on it more full time since then. And that's been huge.
So you got funders for your business, you got funds, and you were able to start building. Where are you at now in your business?
So now we have finished our proof of concept model. It works. It's not pretty yet, but our device does work. And so now we're taking that to an engineering firm who can make it into the form factor that we want, who can make it look nice and compact.
Nice. So when do you think you'll start like the actual distribution of your products?
Yeah. I think by this time next year, it should be in the hands of people throughout the state of Utah and Arizona. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What is your strategy for helping people know about Yarrow?
It's been a lot of this, getting to meet with people like yourself or filming like GoFundMe videos, things like that. I've started doing a little more social media content as well. But I think the biggest thing, again, is getting mentors to help me because I don't know much about marketing, but I get mentorship from people who help me spread the word. And it's one of those things that, if it is important to you, if your life has been affected by domestic violence or sexual assault, most people want to help out. And I've been very blessed in that way.
That's amazing, dude. So what has been one of the biggest lessons you've learned?
I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is not to rely on myself. And we've talked a little bit about this, but being a business owner is hard and you have to wear a lot of different hats. And the less you have to rely on yourself, the better. So opening yourself up for friendships or mentorships or relationships that allow you to lighten the load is really important. Finding people that you can trust to help you, I think, is one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
Honestly, that has been a huge lesson I've learned as well. I got started with this podcast about 8 months ago or so, and I had no idea how to start a podcast. Yeah. I just saw iHub. I saw the vision. I was like, I want to be a part of this community. How can I provide value? Mm-hmm. And I thought, podcast would be a great way to make that happen. And so pitched the idea, and here we are today. One of the biggest things I've learned too is you can't do everything yourself. You have to depend on other people. And as I've developed my skills and learned how to do this, it has been so helpful to have people on my side to be able to make this project happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that it came from just an idea or a desire too. That's incredible.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good point. All you need to get started is to have an idea and have the drive and the commitment to make that thing happen.
Yeah.
If you have those two things, you can make anything happen because people will come, they'll flock, and they'll help you achieve what your goals are.
I agree with that 100%.
So where do you see Yarrow in the future? Like, what is the future of Yarrow look like?
I want Yarrow spread all throughout the United States, and eventually other countries too. In the U.S. alone, 10 million people every year are affected by domestic violence. That doesn't include sexual assaults or human trafficking cases either. It's a scary number. And to me, what it represents is there are a lot of people who need help. And so I don't foresee Yarrow disappearing anytime soon. If it did, that means that the problem would be finished, and that would be great, but we're not quite there yet. And so in 20 years, I see Yarrow throughout the United States helping people each day.
Where do you see yourself? Are you still a part of Yarrow? Are you going to sell it?
In 20 years?
Yeah.
I hope that someone more qualified than myself can either come in as a partner or co-founder and help us scale and grow, or that I can take kind of a position that allows me to work with nonprofits specifically. A lot of our clients right now are women's shelters, people who have access to really vulnerable populations in large quantities. I love networking with them. I love meeting with them. And, I've been told by a few people, you won't have such a big salary if you're not the CEO. I'm okay with that. I don't need a whole lot. I'm a simple guy. To me, it's impact focused. And so you can make a difference either way you go with Yarrow, I feel like. But that's where I feel drawn.
I feel like whenever you have that mission, that motivation, it makes everything else so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I applaud you for your vision.
Thank you.
It's very impressive and very inspiring.
Thank you.
So what about your personal life? Like, where do you see that going to?
I hope that I get to move to a farm, little homestead in the woods with my wife and my kids, and that's where I'll be. If you need me, send me a letter or something. Kind of a quiet life is what I hope for, and that sounds nice to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, where can people go to learn more about you, Kohl?
Follow us on social media. All of our socials are Project Yarrow. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter or X, TikTok. All of those places we'll be posting.
Awesome. Well, Kohl, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate your story.
Thank you. I appreciate being here on the podcast.